boxing, beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.
Nathan Heaney, coming off the stoppage loss to Brad Pauls last year for the British title at 160. He came out to the sounds of Delilah Tom Jones, which is his theme song, but he walked out the ring on very rubbery legs. His record is now 18 wins, 2 losses, 1 draw. He was stopped in the 7th by the Frenchman Sofiane Carty. Had a feeling Nathan was going to get stopped. And there's no perfect way to defend yourself, even with the soundest technique, but he either stands up too straight at times or he crouches into shots. Nathan throws some nice straight punches, but sometimes when he's letting his hands go, he forgets that his opponent is looking to counter. And that's how he got caught against Brad Paul when he was stopped last year. And that's how he got caught in this fight as well, as he throws hands, attempting to assert authority and get respect from his opponent. He was having success, but he started getting caught by shots and his face started busting up. He was bleeding from the nose, and it may have looked worse than what it was because of that moustache he has. A good counter left over Nathan's right hand hurt him in the 5th round. In the 7th, they traded right hands. They both landed full on, but Nathan came off worse. He was visibly shaken. A delayed reaction. Follow-up combination put him down. Some people are arguing that Bob Williams, the referee, could have called it off then. Could have called it off. Didn't look in great shape, but it carried on. Nathan had an extended period of time to recover because his gum shield came out. The Frenchman's corner thought, it's a robbery. But in the UK, it's standard procedure, rules and regulations. As soon as there's a stoppage in the action, the referee is required to make sure the fighter has his gum shield put back in. Although it was just stalling the inevitable, Nathan was getting pummeled by a brutal two-handed attack. So 2 stoppage defeats on the bounce for Nathan. 35 years of age. I would argue he may have plateaued when he defeated Denzel Bentley in 2023 on points for the British title. 7th round stoppage for Sofiane Carty from France. His record is now 18 wins, 7 inside the distance, 5 losses. 32 years of age, Nathan at 35. He's not getting any younger and doesn't appear to be getting any better. If he's going to continue, they've got to work on his defense, although Nathan is hinting that it could be the end of the road after 111 fights, amateur and pro. He's dedicated 24 years of his life to boxing. He thanked all his sponsors. He's got a huge fan base, 2,000 fans, mostly from Stoke. Travelled down to Manchester to watch him yesterday. And look, he gave it his all as a pro, became British champion. All the best if he chooses to retire.
Boxing, beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.
With the influx of money, these huge shows being staged in Saudi Arabia, people are making judgments on individual fighters at every opportunity, and so if it's not Willie Hutchinson, that is not a reason not to give of your best.
No.
So Willie Hutchinson pulled out of his light heavyweight contest against Zach Parker on the undercard of Derek Chisora versus Otto Wallin. He was replaced by the Frenchman Michael Diallo. 21 wins, 2 losses, 2 draws, 18 inside the distance, 33 years of age. Zach Parker, 30 years of age, 26 wins, 18 inside the distance, 1 loss. That was to John Ryder a few years back. So the commentary team on TNT kept mentioning, or hinting should I say, that Zach might not be up for this fight because of the late change of opponent. That could have some validity. Or perhaps Zach just ain't that good. Mark Bates, he had it 98-92 in Zach Parker's favour. That's pretty wide. 98-93 John Latham. Mark Lyson had it 97-94. I think that was closer to the mark. If we reverse the roles objectively, and Parker was the import, continuously holding and falling on the floor, he would have been docked at least 2 points and perhaps thrown out, disqualified, due to his inability to keep the flow of the contest. His opponent had a relatively high knockout percentage, and he definitely hurt Zach. But Zach was going over without getting hit. They were both cut around the midway stage of the contest. And I'm trying to work out what he did to warrant a wide decision. Like, He looked on the verge of getting stopped in the 8th round, and he landed a good right hand, which definitely hurt Diallo. But even then, he went on the canvas after landing the shot at least twice more before the round ended. A very forgettable fight. On Twitter, they were saying, I never want to see Zach Parker on my TV again. This guy effing stinks. Zach Parker hugs more than Lawrence Okoli. Referee not going to pull any points. Embarrassing to boxing. Agreed. Last night showed Zach Parker was awful and Hutchinson would beat him up. Heaney is a ticket seller with British level ability. No shame in that. Chisora is an effing legend of British boxing. Want to see him go out in a Saudi biggie. Don't want to see Wallin again. Zach Parker is effing shocking. Zach Parker is absolutely useless. I hope to never see this useless waste of space on any card ever again. Now, if you had a poor night, the comments are harsh. If he's not up to what he should be, he's not up to what he should be. I'm looking more at the referee, how no points were taken. Constant holding, constant falling on the canvas. Horrible fight to watch.
Zach got the win. It was hard work. He dragged it into a dirty and rough fight, didn't he?
Yeah, it was a good fight, obviously.
I don't know if my hearing is failing me. Did he say it was a good fight? The commentator said Diallo dragged it into a rough fight. Really? He was relatively limited. He came in there with his hands up high and plodded forward. What did he do to drag it into a rough fight exactly?
Very tough lad. 20th in the world.
But who's on what ranking system? There's so many.
I know it's frustrating, but good experience. You know, you ever get into a situation like that again, you kind of remind yourself of tonight, don't you?
See, I'm still growing into the weight as well. This is my first fight at the full weight, so yeah, bit frustrating that Willie pulled out last minute.
Still growing into the weight at 30. If the Willie Hutchinson fight is rescheduled, Zach will have to improve a lot to get the W.
Boxing. Beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.
Anthony Yarde, Frank Warren, all friends again, all smiles again, all hugs again, all good again. Anthony Yarde will be fighting on Queensberry, but first he's got to get the Lyndon Arthur assignment out the way. And I'm shocked the amount of people think it's a foregone conclusion. Even if Yarde was at 30% when Lyndon beat him, still not an easy fight to win. It's one apiece. Yarde's career is on the line, Lyndon's career is on the line. Lyndon's beat some good people. It wasn't clear if Yarde is going to sign with Queensberry or if he'll remain a free agent, but we'll see. Providing he gets past Lyndon Arthur.
Boxing. Beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.
Who will replace Derek Chisora when he retires after his next fight? The Golden 50. Who wants to? I mean, did you see the state of his face? I mean that respectfully. A 41-year-old, you would think, could be doing other things with his Saturday evening. Otto Wallin, his biggest disappointment, aside from not getting his hand raised, should be that he finished the fight on his feet. Two options. You go in that ring, and I'm talking about Otto Wallin specifically. He had two options. Either get your hand raised or get carried the fuck out the ring. But when you offer up your head in a headlock at the weigh-in and don't push him off and don't get aggressive when he does that, you've already set the template for what you're likely to do in the ring. Otto has just never made adjustments to that very European heavyweight boxing style. Head high up in the air, getting caught with big hooks while he's retreating. Derek came with the armbar, cross-arm defense to block the uppercut, but Otto threw it so sparingly. Derek didn't really have to rely on the cross-arm defense. Derek switched to southpaw quite a bit. He got cut when he had Otto on the ropes, throwing big rights. When the heads clashed, it was a pretty bad cut. But defensively, he did well from out of that crouch, weaving Otto Wallin's jab. So he wasn't just in there getting his head pinged around the place. When Derek went lefty, he was able to get that range-finding jab going. He was using it to find the target, so to speak, more than an aggressive weapon. In the 7th, Derek pinned Otto on the ropes. That's why I thought Otto would come in heavier. Derek was just a lot physically stronger, wasn't he? And Derek really let his hands go. Looking to do damage. Wallin, he never learnt his lesson. He kept retreating, kept getting caught while backing out of exchanges in straight lines, getting caught with left hooks. Ninth round, an overhand right, caught him while he was retreating. It looked like he was going to hold his feet. He went down, he stumbled, and down he went. I didn't get to score the fight. I didn't give Wallin much rounds, but he did put in some pity-pat combinations, and they did enough damage, even though the cut was due to a head clash where Derek's face was swollen up pretty badly. 10 and 11 went to Otto Wallin. The cut eye was impeding Derek's vision. He was missing, and Wallin was catching him as he was coming in. One of the judges had it 114-112. A lot of people don't agree with that. I didn't score. TalkSport had it very close. But Derek closed the show with that clubbing George Foreman-esque right hand that sent Wallin down to the canvas. Wallin was exhausted. Derek was exhausted, but he was prepared to push it to the limit. And Otto just isn't there as a fighter. He just doesn't have that mentality. Like Derek said, we're not boxing. We're fighting. Boxing is for amateurs. Derek is a bona fide top 10 heavyweight right now. Just won an eliminator for one of the straps. It wasn't too long ago where I was maybe the lone voice supporting him when he called out Deontay Wilder. We'll see who Derek fights for his 50th. There was a short list when he brought the rappers into the ring. Otto Wallin, he said he'll go back, watch the tape, reassess where it went wrong, but he said his performance wasn't enough. He's hinting that he's not going to retire, but he's transitioning into gatekeeper mode if he chooses to continue to fight at 34. He seems incapable of perhaps giving top 10 fighters no more than rounds. That's all he offers, it seems. He himself won an eliminator in 2023 against Gassiev. Nearly beat Tyson Fury with a legit punch, which cut Fury really badly. His limitations got exposed by AJ. There's some good fights for Otto Wallin as a gatekeeper. Some very good fights. And I know I watched, there's going to be people in the comment section saying, nah, he's done. If everyone was just done, as you said, there'd be no boxing left. If these boxing fans who think like that were football fans, it would be almost like if the top two teams in the country were, let's say, Manchester City and Liverpool, it would be basically pointless them playing anyone else in the season apart from them playing each other. Boxing needs the Otto Wallins to transition into gatekeepers to test the up-and-coming heavyweight prospects, like Delicious Ori, who's just turned pro with Frank Warren, for instance. He'd be a good rehabilitation opponent for the likes of Fraser Clark.
Boxing. Beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.
Beats and rhymes.
No one can do it better.